Welcome to Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the show that proves if it's a fit, it's a fact. I'm your host, revolutionary sales coach Aleasha Bahr, and the creator of the Black Sheep Sales Method. If you're a done-for-you service provider who wants to grow their profits and impact without pain, pitching, or pretending to be someone else, then this is for you. And today's episode is a little different from the normal episode because it's an announcement that I'm very excited to share with you. As you heard in my intro, I am changing to the Black Sheep Sales Method. And it has been quite an evolution to get here, you guys. I started with the subtle selling method, and obviously that just doesn't quite do it justice, right? And then I switched to sales for introverts because I knew it's just a different way of doing sales, and introverts really thrive with it. But not all of my clients were introverts, and a lot of people didn't realize they were introverts because they associate being an introvert with being shy, which has nothing to do with being introverted or extroverted. It's actually a confidence thing. So then the next iteration was the matchmaker sales method. And it doesn't quite hit, right? And so this is the latest iteration, and maybe there will be another, but I feel so good about it, the Black Sheep Sales Method, because I realized that anyone I've ever liked or had on the show or worked with is a black sheep. And I discovered this. I was talking with my cousin, and we were talking about how we're the black sheep in the family, and we're just tired of it, right? And if the fact that they told us to fall in line and we said no, and that makes us the black sheep, then damn it, I'm proud to be a black sheep. And I was explaining this to one of my clients, and they said, I'm the black sheep in my family too. And then I talked to the second client, and I was explaining this, and they said, yeah, I'm the black sheep in my family too. And then I talked to a third client in that same week and explaining the story, and they said, yeah, I'm the black sheep in my family too. And I said, wait a second. Maybe this is the pattern I've been looking for. And when I look back, all of my clients do something in a very different way than what is the industry standard. And it pisses people off. So what is a black sheep, right? A black sheep is somebody, even back in the day, if you were left-handed, you were a black sheep, and people forced you to be right-handed. You were forced to read a book and take a test. You were forced to read a book and write an essay. If you were a girl, you had to be girly and play with dolls. And if you weren't girly, then you were a black sheep. If you weren't a manly dude, you were a black sheep, right? And it's just somebody who does things a little differently, who has a perspective on the world that's different. And just by existing, it seems to piss everyone else off. And this is definitely my story my whole life. I mean, aside from the fact that I'm the black sheep in my family, I'm also a black sheep in sales just by being a woman, right? So outside of that, whenever people told me to do stuff differently in sales, I was like, why? I'm getting results. Why do you care how I'm doing it? And it's so interesting how mainstream people just want you to fit in this box, even though it doesn't affect them in any way if you're different. And I mean, my whole life, I'm a blonde, blue-eyed, smiley person, right? I'm bubbly. People have always assumed that I'm, a white sheep. And then I open my mouth and it totally disarms people. I'm too much, right? I'm too direct. I'm too blunt. I'm too deep. I'm too honest. I'm too whatever. I've heard my whole life that I need to take it down a notch. I'm also in love with sketch comedy, which is really strange. And now I can do more of that with sales because of this Black Sheep Sales Method. And I make up really weird songs and sing them. I did that for my pregnancy with my first child. I wrote a pregnancy rap and filmed a music video for it. And these are things that people wouldn't expect out of someone who looks like your basic, average, all-American chick, right? So my clients have similar experiences going on. So, one of them is a Haitian guy with dreads who loves motorcycles and golf. Very unexpected. And when we worked together, he was like, look, I do things differently, but everyone thinks that I'm a black sheep, thinks that I am a fitness expert, just a regular fitness coach. And what he does is so much more than that. He actually helps you become pain-free and injury-proof. And that includes, not stretching. It includes only working out 3 times a week for 45 minutes each. It includes not cardio. These suggestions piss people off, right? Another client, she does social media and tells people to post less. She has a 4-post strategy and there's a certain sequence to it. This absolutely pisses people off because it's like a content hamster wheel, right? Or another client who's a nutritionist and she's like, everyone thinks that I'm just a regular nutritionist. And it's like, no, you help people eliminate migraines permanently through nutrition. That's incredible. And each of these people knew something was different about them, but they didn't know how to give it words. And that's what I do, right? I mean, granted, that is the superpower I've been given in life. But I think also Black sheep struggle with articulating their differences because for so long we've been made to feel like it's a bad thing. So we want to shove that down and pretend like it's not happening and fit into what everyone else is saying. And so when we try to explain how we're different, it's just the opposite of what we've been doing our entire life, right? And if you look at Black sheep, this world leaders, probably 95% of the biggest impacts and people who have shaped the world the most are or were Black sheep in their time. Do you think people thought that Einstein was a genius at the time? No, they thought he was a weird ass. They told him to please sit down, be quiet. He was too eccentric. His ideas were too out there. They were too scary, whatever. Same with Amelia Earhart. Like, what are you doing flying a plane, woman? Why do you think you can be a pilot? You should be a homemaker. What about Gandhi? I mean, that was an insane suggestion. Or Jesus. Love everyone. What is that? Everyone who was mainstream told them that their ideas were too out there. They were dangerous. They were scary and to stop. And they said, you know what? I'm sorry that bothers you, but I'm going to keep going. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. And I can't help but wonder how much brilliance we have lost from people who had different perspectives and had different approaches and different ideas and were told to shut up, sit down, and be quiet. And so they did because they wanted to please someone. Or what about the people who are still living by their family standards or by the industry's standards or by society's standards and will die taking all of their Black sheep brilliance with them because they are trying to please other people at their own expense. And we have tried. As if you are a Black sheep, you have probably tried to do things the way people say to do it. You've tried pretending and masking and doing the process that they do and fitting in the way they do. And it just doesn't get you results, just straight up. The only time a Black sheep doesn't quite fit in is when they're pretending to be a white sheep because something is incongruent about it. You can feel that something is off, right? So when you start embracing your Black sheepness, and especially when you have words that can make you confident in your difference, that it is a beautiful thing to celebrate because it is. I don't know how a Black sheep was ever a negative thing. That is a rare, unique occurrence. Let's celebrate the shit out of it. Seems like good luck. Like, let's go buy a lotto ticket, good luck or something. What could the world be if everybody felt the permission to embrace their different perspective and share it without judgment and to show up powerfully? And especially nowadays when luckily we have evolved to a time when standing out is the name of the game. We're not all trying to be named Mary and Catherine and Sarah. Like, people want their kid to have a different name, right? How do I have a different name from everyone else? So Black sheep are just naturally sitting on this gold mine of standing out. All you have to do is look at them and they stand out. Usually, sometimes people are Black sheep just because they have different hair, because they have piercings, they have tattoos or whatever. And people judge them for that just because they're different, even though that difference is what inspires innovation and inspiration and progress in the world. Look at all of the leaders that I just mentioned that have shaped this world. They absolutely looked and acted different. And if they didn't continue on with their point of view, we would not have made the progress that we've made up to this point. So yes, it repels people, and that scares the shit out of a Black sheep, right? Well, out of anyone, right? We've all been trained to want to fit in and be people pleasers. But honestly, when somebody says, I don't really like her, I don't really like what she has to say, I'm like, thank you for self-selecting. I probably wouldn't like you either. I don't want to hang out with you either. Why am am I going to adjust myself to hang out with somebody that I don't even like? Oh, you want to be prim and proper? That's cool. Go find other prim and proper people. I don't give a shit. Like, there's a million people in this world. Let's all hang out with the ones who make us feel good, that we can celebrate, that we can win with, that we can make cool shit happen with. If that's being prim and proper for you, go find those people. And I don't care that you're not hanging out with me, because honestly, I don't want to hang out with you. And so repelling people as a black sheep, it's actually a benefit. It liberates you. And I know how scary it is with your family to say, I don't agree with that. I want to do things differently. And they almost take it offensive. Like, it's personal. How could you do this to us? How could you choose a different career? Like, God bless anybody who has a really traditional Asian or Indian family, because they aren't even allowed to marry outside of their race. And if they do, their parents are like, why are you doing this to the family? We've done nothing but, clothe and feed you. And I mean, obviously that's not every family, but it's definitely a common occurrence. And the thing is, it's not about them, right? We're not showing up showing up differently in a way that's malicious or meant to hurt anyone. That's not the intention behind it. It really says something more about them that they have a problem with it than us. But our whole lives, we've kind of thought that the problem is us and that it says something about us. And that is not the case. I want this to be like a black sheep party. I want everybody to come to my party. I want them to rock the weirdest shit that they could think of. I want someone in a beehive wig. I want someone in sequin velvet bell bottoms. And no, I wouldn't wear those, but I love that you're wearing those, because it makes me feel like I can show up in my weird way and you can say, hell yeah, I love that you're doing that. Is it what I would do? No, but I love that we're all showing up in our truth. And that makes the world a richer place. A more progressive place, a more fun place, a smarter place, a kinder place, all of these things, right? So what does this look like in sales? Because obviously one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this is that it extends beyond sales, of course. But in sales, I've created, the 10 black sheep sales commandments. So it's that sales is not a numbers game. Sales should never feel uncomfortable. If it does, your prospect feels it too, and that is not the right strategy for you. More calls does not equal more sales. More calls with the right people, which usually means less calls overall, does mean more sales. Empathy and curiosity are the most powerful sales skills, not being charming and smooth. Being awkward sells more than being fake. If you're awkward about sales, say so. Own your weird. Generic bullshit is the worst. It's that incongruency that we can all feel when you're pretending to be a white sheep. There is no one-size-fits-all sales strategy. Context is everything. If you've taken calls and no one's moving forward, we're switching that strategy. You're not going to repeatedly get rejected. Good offers beat pressure and manipulation. If your offer is quality and gets results, I don't believe you need manipulation or pressure to sell it. And it's crazy that people would think that. If it's a fit, it's a fact with no selling involved. It's all about expectations lining up with my solution before signing someone up, which means sometimes saying no, because not everyone is a fit. We pitch weave instead of pitch. So pitch weaving seamlessly so that you're not guessing, did you want that? Instead, let's make sure that we're clear that it's a match, and detach from the sale. It's about their best interest, and no one likes commission breath. So this is for the person. If you are, the idea of being pushy and manipulative and aggressive in sales gives you the hives, then you're probably a black sheep. And if you get anything from this, I want you to feel confident and inspired in listening to your intuition. If somebody tells you to say something and you're like, no, that feels weird, and they're like, say it anyway, don't listen to them, because it's not going to land right. You need to do what works for you. And it's okay if that's not the way that works for the majority of people. It does not matter. All that matters is what gets you results. And something custom is going to get a black sheep better results every time. And also something that's not the typical bro mainstream thing. And it bothers me to know in that they gaslight people into doing something that feels so damn uncomfortable because it's supposedly what works for everyone, which is just not true. So I need you to know that you can do it differently, and you should do it differently. You will get better results when you do it differently. Please stop pretending and masking. Instead of turning it down, I'm asking you to turn it up. That's the energy for 2024 that I want. There's not a too much. There's not a sit down. There's not a take it down a notch. There's give me more. I love it. I want to hear your idea. I want to hear how weird it is. I want to hear the weirdest thought that you ever had about your industry. I want to hear that crazy idea. I bet you it's not crazy. I bet it's freaking awesome. And we could sell the shit out of it and it probably changed the world. So listen to your intuition. Being different, saying it different, etc. is necessary in this world. It's innovation, it's inspiration, it's a breath of fresh air, it's a pattern interrupt. It's what everybody wishes that they had while they're simultaneously trying to fit in and be a white sheep. And it's so sad to watch. And we just naturally have what's going to make us stand out and be a breath of fresh air as soon as we lean into it. And yes, this is about sales, but it's more than sales. So please, if you know someone who doubts themselves, who isn't sure if they're too much, who sometimes lets their real weirdness peek out and then shuts it back down, and they need to know this so that they can show up fully, because they will be happier and they will get better results and we'll all enjoy and get so much benefit from them showing up. Please share this episode with them. Please let people know that when they show up fully, it inspires you to show up fully. That when they're that brave, it makes you that brave. And this world will be a richer, better place for it. And Black sheep are more powerful together. The more that we come together and celebrate our differences and highlight them as strengths and say, fuck yeah, that's beautiful, the world just gets stronger and stronger. And I hope that you can take that away from this episode, whether you're in sales, whether you're just existing, whether you do things differently in your industry, or whether you just do things differently by being. Whatever it is, please lean into it, because I love it. It's beautiful. I want the character. I want the eccentric person. I'll give you the words that you need to say how you're different in a way that everybody understands is so valuable. How could they have ever told you to shut it down? How could they have ever disagreed with you? That's what I love to do. I love taking someone who is a character or thinks different or looks different, and I give them the confidence to show up powerfully and the words to do it with. So, all that to say, I know this was a little bit of a different episode. Thank you for coming along with me. I hope that you'll join me on this ride and continue listening, because everyone I bring on this show is going to be a Black sheep and has been a Black sheep, shocker, and going to share a different perspective and a different way of doing things. That's what I seek out and make sure that I have before I bring anyone on the show, because I'm not trying to hear the same tired, basic shit that we have heard a million times. This is for different ways of doing things, because you know what? You're looking for what resonates with you. You can hear that and say, oh, that wouldn't really work for me. Then don't do it. If you hear it and say, yeah, I want to try that. That sounds like it could be a fit. I am so glad I brought that alternative solution to you. So please join my Black sheep community. Be part of it. Own your weird. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. The weirder you are, the more you let it out. And I hope that you take this into your day and into your year and into your sales. And if you feel like you aren't making the sales you want or something isn't aligned, please, please, please book a sales level up call. You'll upload a recorded call or a sales framework, and I'll tell you what's going on and how to adjust it so that it feels aligned for you and works. I'm not going to tell you to do stuff that you feel weird saying. If you feel weird saying it, then we'll say it a different way, because you know what? There's a million ways to say the same thing, and there's no reason to say it in a way that's uncomfortable. So the only way you can fail is not seeking out help, not leaning into your Black sheep strengths. So for all of us, please show up powerfully. Show up as yourself, and it helps us all show up brighter too. So with that, that's the end of another episode of Sales is Not a Dirty Word. I'm so excited to have you, my beautiful Black sheep, and thank you so much for listening. I will see you next time.